Congressman Pat Fallon. He sits on the House Armed Services Committee, also retired U.S. Air Force captain. Congressman, thanks for your service in both the military and in the Congress. When do you think your party will actually get real leadership again, like, Ronald Reagan, Newt Gingrich, or like Donald Trump, and begin pushing back instead of accepting all of these double standards I just outlined?
Well, Chris, you are the liberty-loving Latino, and I salute you for that. The fact of the matter is that we do have great leaders like Donald Trump, but there's others in Congress that are going to push back on this because, we work in a building, and in the statue of Lady Liberty, it says 3 words: E pluribus unum, from many one. We cannot allow these folks like Ms. Wing to propagate hatred and divisiveness, because she's really saying at the end of the day that certain people, based on their pigmentation, have more weight, value, and merit than others. And that's a very dangerous and slippery slope to go down, because we saw how that ended in Central Europe last century. So we need to push back on it and absolutely draw a line in the sand and say, no more retreat. We're going to call you out for what you are,
right?
A racist pig.
Exactly. If you hate somebody because of the color of your skin, you are a racist. You are, and you shouldn't be allowed in government. But Joe Biden hires these people. Border cities, in the meantime, especially in our beloved Texas, Congressman, have been ravaged by the influx of illegal aliens from all over the world. In Texas alone, nearly 200,000 illegals cross into our state every month. But the moment 50 of those illegal aliens are shipped to Martha's Vineyard, the left wing has a cow, if they actually believed in eating meat. Here's radical leftist Seth Abramson tweeting, quote, "Attention FBI, investigate this man for human trafficking." It's a picture of Ron DeSantis up there. And a former CNN reporter comparing DeSantis to Nazis. Meanwhile, these leftists are silent, Congressman, when brown people have their homes decimated, like what's going on in our beloved Texas. Human trafficking is booming. Narco-terrorists are militarizing our border. And illegals are dying at the border in unprecedented numbers. Don't get me started on the deadly drugs, illegal guns, and the environmental damage. Aren't these activists just desperate to hide the Democrats' role in bringing so much harm and destruction to the United States?
Chris, if the far left didn't have double standards, they'd have no standards at all. Let's look at a tale of the tape. 234,000 illegal border crossings in April, which was 1,258% worse than the last April President Trump was in office. Almost 240,000 in May, which was 930% worse than the last May President Trump was in office. From April to August of this year, when you consider the known crossings and the known gotaways, we're looking at probably 1.5 million illegal border crossers. The drug cartels are making wild profits, up to $30 billion a year just on the narcotics, but now they're making about $12 billion or more on human smuggling. We've lost 107,000 Americans to opioid overdoses just last year alone. It's a de facto open border. Joe Biden has been in office over 600 days. He's never visited the border. And Kamala Harris is a joke who came once. She's pathetic. They are propagating this. They are responsible for the largest human smuggling and sex trafficking operation in human history.
Yeah, they and their Democrat Party. Absolutely. By the way, speaking of Democrats, Tim Ryan, one of your colleagues there, he's saying that what he's calling extremist right-wing individuals, extremist Republicans must be, quote, killed and confronted. And Democrat Senator Hirano is putting out a call to arms against those of us who defend babies in the womb. All of this is on top of the repeated calls for civil war by left-wing cable pundits. Congressman, what is your response to the left's calls for violence while Joe Biden is simultaneously saying it's you and your party that is violent?
It's very dangerous rhetoric, Chris. When that United States senator said she called for a literal call to arms, not figurative. She was very clear in what she was saying. And we saw that, in 2020 when we had the Antifa and BLM riots, $2 billion worth of damage. And what did Kamala Harris do? She was bailing those people out of jail. $2 billion worth, 5 times the loss of life from January 6th. And January 6th was mostly secondary loss of life. It was with heart attacks and things like that. It wasn't directly due to what was going on. The left is the ones that always propagate the violence. And it really concerns me, because I've always condemned, as you have, all political violence, because we have a means of redress in this country. But When your leaders are
Right.
calling for this, I think we're going to get some, and that's going to be very, very unfortunate.
Yeah, and the next time you're on one of those left-wing networks, you might want to point out Mazie Hirano and those left-wing networks' hypocrisy on this. I wanted to get to Democrats compromising our military readiness. Earlier today, you sent a letter to Team Biden sounding the alarm on student loan cancellations and how that's going to impact further military recruitment, which Joe Biden's team is already driving down to record low numbers. What is the correlation here, student loans and military recruitment? Congressman, can you hear me? Oh, did he freeze? Oh, man alive. The technology. I really wanted to know what the connection was. So, guys, did we get him back or no? No? Oh, hold on. They're checking. Doesn't look like. No, it's not going to happen.
Are we back?
All right. Oh, wait a minute. I see him. Congressman,
okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
make that correlation for me. Student loans and recruitment.
Very quickly, Chris. 23% of Americans are even eligible now due to the requirements, physical and academic, to serve in the military. Only 9% express an interest in doing so. The Army was 20,000 recruits light this past year. The Navy and the Air Force also did not meet their recruiting goals, or it doesn't look like they're going to. And one of the major incentives to recruit people to come is for the military to pay for their school, the GI Bill. Or if you've already had schooling, there's student loan forgiveness. But when Joe Biden comes in and says, you know what, if you make under 125 grand, we'll give you $20,000 off your student loans for doing absolutely nothing. That dramatically impacts our ability to attract folks to serve in the military.
Well, and again, look at what they've been doing. Everything this administration has been doing has been to drive down the effectiveness, lethality, and recruitment into our military, which is China's dream. Congressman. Congressman Pat Fallon, appreciate the service and the time as always. Sorry about the technical glitch there. Coming up on the Chris Salcedo Show, Second Amendment advocate Cam Edwards, he's going to be here.